Hey guys, what's going on? Pat Garrett here, PG Outdoors. And I think that it is about high time that I do a update review on the 2018 Prime Logic. I've had it, when I made the first video, I'd already had it for a couple of weeks, but due to recent budget cuts, I've had to kind of slow down my pace a little bit, and now I'm back in it, and I've had a lot more time with the bow. I've built out some arrows specifically for it, and really kind of, especially today, got down and dirty with John up at Boneyard Archery in Madison, North Carolina. We really got into the nitty gritty with this bow and broke it down into its rawest and purest shooting form, and just went all out in getting this thing consistent. And huge thanks to John for doing that, putting this thing together for me. So first thing, I went back to the Maxima Reds for this bow. They provide, they're not necessarily better than another arrow. However, they definitely are a little bit more consistent in point of impact placement. I know a problem that I had with another bow, my RX-1, I was shooting gold tip arrows. I actually had these arrows when I first started shooting and had just stupid consistent placement. I went through a dozen of them in about a month, because it shot so consistently. I was shooting the backside of them. And I went over to gold tip because I'd heard a lot of good things about gold tip, and for some reason just stuck with gold tip. I like the way the gold tips fly. They are easy to watch, trace them as on their flight path. However, their point of impact compared to point of aim was a little bit more varied. It was a little bit broader of a circle, whereas these point of aim is point of impact every time. The gold tips tend to flex as they fly, which is perfectly normal, but the Maximas tend to only flex in their center. I had a notification pop up, but they tend to only flex in their center, and that point stays the same on the front and rear end of the shaft. So as far as, since this is going to be hopefully shot in tournaments soon, and that's another update, I am going to shoot it in a tournament. I wanted that broadhead, or not broadhead, but I wanted that field point to hit where I put it. If I pointed at the dot, I wanted to hit the dot. I don't want the fletching to be on the dot and the point to be off and somewhere in the 9 ring. So that's really the reason why I went to Reds, just for just that. Nothing wrong with the gold tips whatsoever. Still using the tree limb quiver. You having fun back there? She's having fun back there. Using the Luminox for now. There is some updates from ATA show that John let me know of. We will be switching over to a different lighted Nox system. I'm going to save that for another video, do a comparison of it. They're pretty sweet. I'll leave that there though. Alright, so what we did today, aside from getting this bad boy, this limb driver, the Smackdown Pro from Trophy Taker, kind of got that squared away. We installed a front, this is a 12-inch Bee Stinger stabilizer on the front, and we kind of jerry-rigged a, this is a K-Tech side mount here, and we kind of jerry-rigged it to the back. That is not really the screw that would go with that system, and I don't necessarily think that hole was meant for that. That hole was meant for their Sherpa system, for their quiver from Prime. but we had better ideas. So we didn't want to put a front mount that come off. We wanted it to be back that way from anchor point by ASA rules. I could have it a little bit farther back on the bow, and it makes for easier and better balancing. And after having put so many arrows down range with it, now that I'm almost unrealistically comfortable with it, I can say that one, this bow, whenever you get it up and you set it down on target, you can bury your pin in the target. I mean, it is rock solid. And one thing that I've never had, even with my RX1, with an HHA, a rotary dial sight, single pin sight that was outstanding, I could not be as accurate with that bow as I am with this one. We did a 20, 30, 40, and 50-yard shot consecutive out of the same quiver, and I hit the 10 ring on all 4 shots at will. And they weren't fast shots. I took my time and aimed steady, went through my draw cycle, and it was a solid release each time. But I've never had or seen a bow that was quite that good. So kudos to Prime on their bow making skills for that one, and John on his stabilizer setup for allowing it to be that smooth and that steady. Now I'm going to get into exactly how does this bow tune, and that's going to kind of be up for debate on how far you want to go with it. I went as far in as you could go with tuning the bow. This thing is tuned to the hilt with just everything has been thought of. We've gone over this thing top to bottom, and it is on the money. Tunability is not bad at all, as long as you have a authorized dealer or representative that knows what they're doing. Get a guy you trust who is authorized to work on it, tune it up for you, and go through the building up process. And by building up process, I don't just mean building up the bow. I mean building up you as the shooter to be able to handle this bow. And by that, I mean that this bow does not leave you room for error. You have to have perfect shot form every time. It doesn't give you an inch. If you and that really came to fruition tonight whenever I had a whole brand new issue about my shot form come to light that I didn't even know that I was doing, because this bow shot so good that one small miscue was obvious every single time, and there was no doubt about it what it was. And that was whenever you shoot, whenever you're at draw and you bring it back, whenever you come all the way back to your anchor point, if your string is here, I don't have a good thing to use, but if your string's on the corner of your mouth and you touch your nose with it, light pressure, consistent pressure every time as you pull through your shot, and you just let the bow go off, let the trigger do the work, let the bow do the work, let it go off. If you take a little bit and you kind of face into it, you bury in it trying to get a good sight picture, or if you pull back around that corner just a hair, and I mean a hair, just barely pushing up in that lip, that curvature, that string coming back around to continue its straight flight is enough to kick the back of that arrow out just a hair, and you will see it at 30, 40, and 50 yards. That is something that no other bow that I've had has been so accurate that you were able to see that small of an inconsistency in shot form. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Somebody asked me earlier today about my RX-1 and what I thought about this versus that. And I was kind of going to say that for another video, but I just go ahead and squash the bug. It is, they're two purpose-built bows. They're built for two different things. This bow was small axle to axle. It was built to sneak up on a critter and kill it. That is all it was meant to do. But it was meant to kill it with unparalleled precision, and they definitely pulled that off. The RX-1 is more of a show bow. You can it's kind of a cross-platform. You can shoot tournaments with it. You can shoot animals at longer ranges with it. Not saying you couldn't with this one, but that's kind of the promotion that you get with that RX-1 package from Hoyt, and that's cool. But as far as shootability of the bows are concerned and consistency and accuracy is concerned, this bow is like driving a supercar, like a civilian, just a normal. You can go to, I don't even know if they have dealerships, but your Bugatti dealership or whatever, a Lamborghini shop, and buy one and drive it. Whereas the Hoyt RX-1 is more of a race car. This bow, you drive this bow home, and everything about it, everything about the way this bow operates and shoots is a direct reflection upon the shooter himself. The RX-1 is more of a race car. You are holding on for the ride and trying not to wreck it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you're Ricky Bobby and you want to go fast, go fast. I mean, you're gonna win every now and then. But I just got a gut feeling that this bow, even though it's not the fastest, you could thread a needle with this thing at any yardage. We're actually, it took me about 2 months to get to where I wanted to shoot 100 yards with that Hoyt, and I've had this bow. Only really been shooting it for about 2 weeks now, and I think I'm gonna go 100 yards in my next video. Y'all stay tuned, and we're gonna see just how bad can she get, and by bad I mean good. So that's it. That's the update on the Prime. I'll never sell it. She mine. She's not for sale. But that's it. I know this video is a little more boring than my other ones, and I'm not very energetic. But it's the middle of the night. I just got back from Boneyard Archery. Up there talking about some pro staff stuff. Good times. Good times. All right. I'm Pat Garrett. This is PG Outdoors. Thanks for watching, and knock 'em up, let 'em fly.